My name is Elizabeth from Elizabeth Magical Garden. Here is where I empower women to reclaim their authentic power, embrace their inner wisdom, and transform life's most challenges. Transitions into profound opportunities for spiritual growth and self-discovery. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified anytime I upload a video. Subscribe to the newsletter at Elizabeth Magical Garden, as well as check out my podcast at Elizabeth Magical Garden, which goes live every single Thursday.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Elizabeth from Elizabeth Magical Garden, a magical garden reaching for the stars. Guys, today we are going to have a little bit of fun, but first be sure to get a beverage of your choice so we can sit back and relax and have a little good time. My name is Elizabeth from Elizabeth Magical Garden, a magical garden reaching for the stars. Guys, you know, I said to myself, now I've been going live on Wednesdays and that's still a factor, but I am a creature. I'm a person that feels that it's best, especially as a creative, as an artist, it's best to get the iron when it's hot, right? And I decided not to stronghold myself into just one way every Wednesday and this is just it. Although Wednesdays does work out for me, but I want to go live a little bit more. So here I am. Today we have something excited that we're going to be discussing. We're going to be discussing God's plan for our lives. We're going to be discussing what God says about our finances. How and why. Why are we supposed to be successful in life, right? We are taught that success comes from hard work. We are taught that success comes from people that are doing their due diligence, right? And that is true. That is true. Doing the hard work does pay off. But what if I told you that this is your divine order, your plan, the plan that God has for your life? You were created to be successful. You were created to live a life of abundance. And I believe that over the course of the centuries, it's been taught that only some people would reach a certain amount of success, where the others maybe not so much. But what if I told you that we were all equal? Yeah. We were all equal. We were all divinely made, created to be successful. And here's the thing. One of the easiest ways that I'm going to share with you by the end of this video, if you stay to the whole live, you will understand why it is your divine intervention, yes, is your divine order to be successful, and why it's a disservice to yourself when you are not reaching this potential. So here we go. So I've been on a journey where I've been studying, guys. You guys, you know I'm always studying. Oh, by the way, look at that. We got a ponytail. We can't move away from the mic. We have our ponytail on today. I want to give myself a little break, so we got a little pony today. And I love this hair because I feel like it matches for the most part, it matches my natural hair. So I just want to shout out to the ponytail. But anyway, what about if you were hoodwinked? You were taught that you weren't supposed to reach a particular level. And as I've been studying, I realized that God, from my understanding, God has always wanted all of us to win. And this is why I believe God was so strategic in the way he created things. You know, they say, when you seek God, you seek wisdom, because God is wisdom, right? Even down to, as I said, as I mentioned, as I've been studying the word, it's been a beautiful unfolding for me, and it still is. because this time around, not only am I wiser, I am consciously coming towards my studies in a different way. Fun fact, it said that when people that's in their, I believe it starts from like in your mid 40s and up, where consciously, and this is why you see a lot of people, a lot of preachers, they tend to be like in their early 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s and up when they start to preach, because consciously you get to a certain divine state where you can comprehend things in a different way. And I believe this is one of the reasons why how old do you have to be the president? Maybe like 44, 47, 44, 46, 47. Leave a comment down below if you know. But there's a conscious state that a person goes into when they reach a particular level. Not age, level, because there's levels to this life, right? And as I approach my studies in this way, it's like everything is being revealed to me in terms of how I can perceive them. It's just totally different, to the point where I am so excited when it's time to sit down and get to know God more, right? Because how can you really have faith in something if you do not have a relationship, right? It's hard to believe in something or someone if there's not a connection, if there's not a relationship. This is why when your parents, when you're a kid and they tell you certain things, you believe them because you have this relationship with your parents, and what they say, they're literally like gods to you, right? For those who have parents and were blessed with decent parents, right? Even like adults, when you go to school, you have a certain level of respect for your teachers, at least you should, right? And because that is an authority figure, you know that they went to school, you know that they did the due diligence to retrieve the knowledge that they have in their particular field. And now you as a student are at the teacher's, so to speak, mercy, because you're depending on this person that went to school to impart on you the information that's needed, right? So my approach moving forward, and has been for a very long time, but even more so now, is a relationship rather than, just cracking the I'm laughing because I've done this many times, just cracking the Bible open and, kind of like skimming, like eeny, meeny, miny, mo, there you go, and read that passage and get what you need and be like, ooh, I'm good, right? And no shade, because it's the living word of God. This is my opinion. It's the living word of God. So any part of any section of the Bible, it will feed you. But there's something to be said about starting from the beginning, getting down to the nitty gritty, getting down into the information and really allowing yourself to digest the information. It's not a hurry. It's not a race, right? It's more of a marathon. Taking time, dissecting. And so I am currently right now, I'm still in Genesis because I am tiptoeing myself. I've gotten plenty of times, I would say 75-ish percent through the Bible and stopped. So my mission this time to go around, and I believe it's more because I something happens when you start to read the holy text. In my opinion, you change. But the thing is, through that change, and I'm going to get into that, through that change, it's very easy to be distracted because you kind of get to this point, at least that has been my experience. You get to this point where you feel like you're feeling good. Everything is starting to work out. Everything is starting to be in alignment. You're moving forward and you stop, at least I did, you stop doing the things that allowed you to benefit from the word in the way that you were benefiting from. Again, this is my experience. And I still was doing the things, but there's an order that you retain when you do things a certain way. I would equate this to going to the gym. Right? You go to the gym, you start going to the gym and you start to work out your muscles. You start to work out. You have to go through this pain stress threshold because your muscles are being ripped apart. I know it sounds a little gruesome, but it's true. Your muscles are being ripped in order for them to heal. And then when they heal, you get that much stronger, right? So keep going through this process. Now, what about if you just kept going through this process and got to a particular state where you were good and then you stopped? You stopped working out in the way that you was working out before. You stopped eating the things that you were eating that helped you to recover in a healthy state. You stopped resting. You just stopped doing the things. You were, dipping and dabbing, but you're not being consistent in a way where you would reach, attain a success that you received before. So that's basically what I'm saying about this walk. Okay. So one of the things that I've been, I would say, stuck on that really piqued my interest. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel for the podcast, which is Elizabeth Magical Garden Podcast, because I did a dive into what I will be speaking. Well, some of the stuff that I'm about to mention right now, which is when God said in Genesis, he said, go and be fruitful and be fruitful on the earth. Again, be fruitful and be fruitful on the earth. And when I was mentioning in that particular episode, which will go live this Thursday, I believe, this Thursday or next Thursday, girl, just go and subscribe and so you can be privy. Okay. Because if you believe that you are receiving, okay, from this platform, and I'm happy that you want to head on over and subscribe to that platform as well, because, it's kind of like, different flavor, different day. Okay. But going back to what I was saying, when God said, be fruitful and be fruitful on earth. Why did God why mention it twice? Why mention it twice? You said it one time, be fruitful. Okay. But yet be fruitful and be fruitful on the earth. One of the things that I've been noticing is that God does not say anything by chance. Everything that is said, everything that is pointing you in a direction, there's a purpose, there's a rhyme, a reason for it. And when I sat with myself and I kept asking myself, why did he mention it twice? What I'm coming to realize, at least this is my take, is that, okay, he wanted us to be fruitful, have children. We are people that we're human beings, and that's what we do, right? We procreate, we build and we grow as a unit, as people, as family, right? And then he said, be fruitful on this earth. Meaning to create, to build, to become more, to become grand. When God created the trees and brought fruit from the trees, and the fruits had seeds in it that produce like fruit, likeness in kind, right? So the beauty of this is that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You can do all things through Christ that strengthens you, right? Because as it's said that I knew you before you was in your mother's womb. What? Let's pause with that. I knew you before you was in your mother's womb. So it's safe to say that a relationship has already been established. A relationship has already been established before you was in your mother's womb. Because I don't know about you. Do you remember? Do you have a conscious memory of where you were before you had any idea of even knowing you had fingers, anything? Do you have a conscious memory of that? You didn't even know you didn't even know what your hands or your feet did. I love to see babies, like I believe the stage is about like maybe 4 or 5 months, 4 or 5, 6 months, probably 4 or 5, 6 months. When it's been a while, okay? When babies, you see them like on their back and they're looking at their hands and they're cooing and they're looking at their hands, they're examining their fingers, they're realizing that they have, hey, what are these wow, what does these do? What are these? They're starting to come to a recollection that their fingers, their hands has a mission. They can do things. They're starting to understand, put together psychologically the function of their limbs, so to speak, right? And this is when they start down the line, start to creep, start to crawl. They learn it's beautiful when you see a baby do all the first things, right? You are no different from that. You're no different. And the process is an ongoing process. Even when you move from adolescence to adulthood, right? And then you've been an adult for a very long time. And then boom, middle age happens. Next thing you know, you're in your 50s. And now you're presented with having to ride a new bike. The bike that you once mastered is now different. It's moving different. It's moving a little slower. It needs different things so it can continue moving faster. Now your ability, and this goes back to when I was saying how when you in your late 40s and 50s, you develop a different type of consciousness where it allows you to retain certain information. And I believe it's because you got more time on your hand. Like you're not out. Well, at least I'm not. You may be. You may be out there partying, doing the things that can be a vibe. But for the most part, usually this is a time where people start to slow down. And when I say slow down, not in a depressing state, like, oh, just like humbum, not doing anything. But the truth of the matter is our bodies are aging. The thing is, you want to age gracefully, right? You want to be in the most healthy state that is humanly possible, so you can continue living a prosperous life. And your ability to consciously understand that the wheels are still turning and you still have the power and the ability to be abundantly successful in life will determine how the rest of your life will look like. In Philippians 4:13, the Lord will open the heavens and bless all the work of your hands. See, when there has been a covenant that has been made well before you was even a thought, okay, in your mother's womb. God loved us so much that he established a relationship with us. One of those relationships that was first established outside of Adam and Eve was Abraham. He established a covenant with him and told him that nations upon nations will be blessed through him. Right? And this idea of understanding and coming to find out and coming to know that there is a God that loved us so much that desires for us to continue to have a relationship with him so he can bless us is remarkable. It's remarkable. It's humbling. It's also, it just brings so much joy and peace when you think about it. When you think that you are loved in such a way that your existence, your ability to be successful is part of your journey. So what is it, and why is it that this way of thinking is so hard? Why do we struggle? Why do people intend to struggle? Why do we struggle in this area of being abundant? Why? One of the reasons I believe that causes an ongoing struggle is a disconnect. The not having the ability to have connection, relationship with God, because it's really hard to believe in what a person is presenting if there's not a relationship, if there's not a connection, right? Think about it as when you go on a date, okay? And this handsome fellow is sitting before you, telling you how beautiful you are, how much of a good time, and all the things. And it sounds nice. You want to believe everything that he says. Now, you will have a level, especially if a person has already worked on themselves. And as a woman, you know who you are. It's the add-on, right? Any compliment is an add-on to what you already know, because you have already done the work. You know who you are. You know how you're presenting yourself, right? So if anything, it's a thank you, right? But even with that, it's not hitting home like someone that you built a relationship with. Right? Women, you can get a compliment from thousands and thousands of men, hundreds of men every day, but it's nothing like the compliment you get from your significant other, right? It doesn't hit home like your husband telling you, baby, you look good today. I love the way you smell. Smelling good. What is that? Oh, did you change your hair? I like the hairstyle on you. It's different, right? You know why? Because a connection has been made. A relationship has been made. A relationship has been established between you and him. And this is why, giving a little tea for the men that are watching, when you do not, because see, a lot of men get confused, like, oh, sure, yeah, you look good. Okay, yeah, I told you yesterday. It's not so much of the compliment. It's us feeling that we're being seen. It's a woman feeling that her man sees her. He's watching her. He's noticing her, right? Just like a rose, it's closed, but then after a little bit of time of being under the light, after the light kissing on that rose, and not too hot, not too much, after a while that rose is going to open. A woman is no short of that. And only a person that is ready for this type of relationship will understand. But this is similarly to what I equate to having and establish a relationship with the Creator God, because it's one thing we can quote all the things, and this is something that I believe that I'll always be working on. We could quote all the biblical terms. We could read all the different texts that there is, but until a relationship is established, I don't really believe that it's going to be able to sink in and hit home the way it needs to. So how do we do that? How do we get to the point where we work towards having the faith as of a mustard seed? Right? How do we get to that point? One of the things that I believe will definitely put you on a map is spending time, establishing that relationship, reading the word, writing things down. So, you know, even potentially memorizing certain things, definitely will help. Number 2, mirror work. Standing in front of the mirror, sitting in front of the mirror and saying your affirmations, speaking life into yourself, saying and proving and looking at yourself and professing the things that you believe that that is your birthright, that should be established in your life. Because here's the thing, if we are not experiencing certain things in our lives, it's because something is not fruitful in that area. It's the truth. Whether it's a relationship, whether it's your finances, whether it's your health, something is not in alignment. And that's the cold-hearted truth, right? So there's that. So allowing yourself to be in alignment so you can reap the benefits of God opening up the heavens. Just think about it. Like when I hear that, I think about I just see money. I see blessings. I see money. I see love. I feel joy. I see health. I see all the good things that not only that I can do for myself, but also for my loved ones and for those around me, and so much more. Start, even put on some music. Start getting into that zone where you feel worthy. And it's like, yes, this is my life. Abundance is my life. Because here's the thing. You don't have to see it before you believe it. That's where the faith comes in, right? In Deuteronomy 28:12, it says, be strong and courageous. Right? Be strong and courageous. You have to stand on business when it comes to your blessings. You have to acclaim this life as you see fit, not being told what your life is supposed to look like. You telling it what it's supposed to look like. Don't get me started up in here, because you got to make this life your, okay? Because if you don't, everybody around you is going to make the decisions for you. Everybody around you is going to take from you. Everybody around you is going to just use you to do their biddings. And it's all about what they want you to do, what society wants you to do. But the thing about it is that use me, but don't misuse me. And if you're not conscious, if you're not in a conscious state, if you're not meditating on a word, if you're not meditating, period, if you're not pouring back life into yourself, it's going to be really hard for you to receive any type of abundance, because you're like you're like an open book. You're just allowing everything in, and it's getting in the way for you. It's getting in the way where you cannot hear that still voice. Right? The Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. The Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Guys, okay, I don't even know. My phone is ringing on this thing here on thing. I don't know if y'all can maybe I should have put it on pause. Let me see. But here's the thing. Hold on, guys. This is the beauty of going live. Let's see. Hold on, guys. Let me do this quick text, so we won't be direct. You know what's so funny? Oh my God! Wait, hold on. Like, is it a state of emergency? Hold on, guys. Hold on, because I don't want to pause this. I think we're good here. Hold on. Hold on. I think we're good. Hold on. Okay. Woo. See, we start getting into it, and then it's like, you know, everything wants to go a little haywire. But anyway, everything is okay. Just had to take care of that. But how can we get to a state where consciously we get past all the minutia, right? Let's just even everything is content. Let's just use this example. Here it is. I'm on live now. Nobody knows. I did think to put my phone on airplane mode. Didn't, right? We have to examine that. But I could have easily just got off the phone, I could have just got off this live, started the phone call and all this other stuff. But I made a decision a long time ago to concentrate on one thing at a time. Like, even down to, this is why people's sleep are being disrupted left and right, because you have your phones right next to you. For me, for the most part, I do, because my mom, she doesn't live with me. So I like to just in case. But even with that, like, dude, like, it's okay to have your phone in another room and have it charged, because guess what? What can you really do in that moment? And especially if you don't have any sleep. Like, anything that's going to happen is still going to be when you wake up. The only difference is that you'll have more energy to deal with that. Okay? Straight like that. Oh, let me show you my mug. So my son bought this mug for me. Let me just be careful. Oh my God, look how cute it is. Guys, look how cute this mug is. Are you kidding me? Do you see it? And it also has like a little, I want to be careful. Oh my God, there's a little spoon. And look at the little face. So cute. Isn't it so cute? Anyway, my son bought this for me. I believe it was like 2 Mother's Days ago. But anyway, it's so cute. And we got some flies going on over here, girl. I can't with that. Okay. Just need a little swig of that. But yeah, what can you do when life is giving you all type of things? Let me see. Hold on, child. They happen. It was not. Oh, okay. 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 Okay, so like I was saying, everything in life is going to always take your attention away. And I just believe that when you allow yourself to be in a state of mind and cleave onto God, it allows you to build that muscle. Remember when we was talking about going to the gym? It allows you to build the muscle and grow in such a state in your faith that you could start to believe in yourself. You could start to believe in the work that you're doing. You could start to believe in the word that has been professed towards you. Because listen, the things that I'm mentioning here, I'm sure you have heard many of the times, right? I have heard many of the times. The thing is, it hits different when you are mentally in a different state, right? So I wanted to come here and give you a money hack. A money hack that you can do today. Starting today, you can start doing this. Okay? And if you continue doing this, you will see a difference. You will understand, you will come to understand God's prosperity in your life, the willingness that you have to achieve your abundance. God is already 100 steps ahead because God has went before you to pave the way through. Okay? Pick one day this week for no spending. So you pick one day out the week, you pick where you're not going to spend any money. You're not buying coffee. You're not buying lunch. You're not buying dessert. You're not buying something for your pets. You're not buying anything. You're not going on Amazon. I would suggest not even putting things in your cart. You're not spending any money one day. So you pick one day where you spend no money. That means you buy nothing extra that day, right? Then write down what you did not buy. So you know how we always have this thing that I need to get some coffee. I need to get this. I need to get that. Whatever you would have bought that day, write it down. Write what you didn't buy. Then take that same amount of money and put it in an envelope or a savings box. Just put it away and call it my blessing fund. Yes, call it my blessing fund. Do it every week and watch it grow, guys. Do this every week. This could be, and what I love about this hack is that it takes off the pressure of a particular amount of money, right? Because it could be any amount of money that you was going to spend on that day. It could have been $5. It could have been $20. It could have been any amount of money that particular day you was going to make some purchases. You know what purchase that you was going to make, and you put that away. After a certain amount of time, it starts to compound upon itself, and then you will see it grow. And this builds a level of faith. Calling it my money blessing fund, this allows you to establish a relationship, because now you're coming from a mindset where it's not, oh, I gotta put this money in. I get to put this money in my blessing fund. I get to put this money away. This is a blessing. I'm blessed to be able to even have money to put away. You see how it starts to compound? So it's not just the physical act, it's also the internal act, the mental act, right? So this is a hack. So do it every week and watch it grow, right? So remember this, when you decide to move, God moves with you. Every step is a step of faith. When you start to move, God starts to move with you. Every single step is a step of faith. Give it all that you got, guys, because it's one life to live. It's one life to live. Guys, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and hit that bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a video or go live. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast channel at Elizabeth Magical Garden. All the information will be down below, and as well as head on over to get your free gift, which will put you on the map, help heal your nervous system so you can be more in a state of abundance and receiving what God has for you guys. Guys, stay blessed, stay in peace, and stay empowered. Peace.